being more than just a gym is massively important. I really think that's a big part of our success. And I think one of the reasons why I've had the success that I've had is because that is at the very foundation. I've always said results, relationships, and community. Those are our three pillars at our locations. And it's the community aspect and the relationships that get people to stay. And part of that is, how do they feel about us? If you're giving back to your community and you're the only gym that's giving back to your community, how do you think they're going to feel about you? And do you think they're going to bring their friends and their family and everybody in because they really love the place that they're doing business with? People want to give their money to people they like, know, and trust. And by creating some type of charitable giving that's tied to your business, just increases the like, know, and trust factor with your team and with your clients.
Welcome to the Fitness CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to helping fitness entrepreneurs launch and grow successful gyms. Here's your host, Bryce Henson.
Welcome back, Fitness CEO Podcast, coming to you live from Grand Rapids, Michigan, yours truly. And I got one of my dear friends, one of my best friends, Mr. Matt Wilber here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we just crushed over 1,000 people at a Big Give charity workout. A Guinness Book of World Records attempt, and I'm here with the man to give us some insight. So Mr. Wilber, welcome to the show, brother.
Happy to be here.
All right, so tell us about kind of what went down today, the backstory. Would love to hear kind of your perspective.
Yeah, today we try to set a Guinness World Record for the most amount of people doing jumping jacks in 1 minute. The goal today was really to bring awareness to our charity, and obviously we had a 30-minute workout afterwards, so it had to be the biggest 30-minute workout that was ever put on, but really bring awareness to our charity and do a lot of good because we're trying to raise money and help 1,000 West Michigan kids have Christmas this year.
Dude, man, so from my lens, just an epic experience. We were chatting a couple weeks ago, and Matt kind of briefed me on the vision, and there was just no way I couldn't be here to support. So super proud of you, brother. And I really want to unpeel the onion. Really, I guess the first question for you is like the backstory. How did this all came to be? Because I know it wasn't today. This is years in the making.
Yeah, we started our first Fit Body Boot Camp in September 2013. And I was actually $100,000 in student loan debt, living in my grandma's basement. So I didn't have a whole lot of money to my name, and we were in business for 2 months, and Christmas time came. Social worker came in. She told us all the needs inside of our community. Kids needed underwear, they needed socks, they needed hats, they needed gloves, all the necessities that most of us take for granted. And I just really felt called to do something about it. So we worked with her. She gave us a list of the wants and needs of the kids in the community, and then we raised money inside of our boot camp. And that year we went shopping. It was just me, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and one of our team members, because that's all we had one team member. We went shopping, we brought the gifts back, our clients helped rip the gifts, and then we delivered the gifts for Christmas. And then the cards started coming in, and the teachers started telling us all the difference that we're making. And then the next year we opened our second Fit Body Boot Camp in Holland, Michigan. We raised about $7,000. And that year, one of the stories that happened really changed my life and made us go all in on this mission. We went to a house, and there was a lady. She was probably in her young 30s, and she had a turban on her head and just really frail and really weak. And I was young and naive, and I didn't really put two and two together at the time. We walk in, and she shows us her Christmas tree, and it's this little fake Christmas tree with a couple gifts underneath, and she starts telling us her story. She has cancer. She's unemployed. She's a single mom and didn't know how she's going to give Christmas to her 2 little boys. And she's crying, we're all crying. And she said she'd never be able to repay us. And I said, you just did. And that really turned it into like, hey, we got to take this thing to the next level. And then every year that we opened a Fit Body Boot Camp, we went into another community, supported another community, and stories like that. So we're not just delivering Christmas gifts, we're really delivering hope, joy, things that every little boy, every little girl should have at that time. And it all started because we saw a need, and then we met that need, and we just keep meeting that need, and it gets bigger and bigger. So in year 1, which 9 years ago, $3,400 to today, our goal this year is $250,000 and helping 1,000 kids have Christmas.
Which is unbelievable. And prior today, I think we talked about off camera, you've raised 40 grand, and then we're still tallying kind of what that looked like today. So when will you have an idea of basically the funds raised?
Yeah, so we're at about $60,000 for this event. For the year, we're already over $105,000. But our goal is to be able to use this event too as a springboard to be able to get more donations and bring more awareness and be able to get bigger sponsors on board and bigger companies on board that can write the 5,000, the 10,000, and the 15,000. So the big give initially was not a charity. In 2013, we raised the money and we expensed it as marketing expenses. But then one year, a client came in and he said, hey, we had a really great year. I want to cut you a $10,000 check, but I need to write this off. And there was no way that we could write it off. So in 2018, we filed and became a 501(c), which now allows us to be able to take donations and be tax exempt, which is great because now we are getting bigger donations. So far, I think the biggest donation is $15,000 in 1 year from one person, one check. And that's because our clients are behind the cause and they see what we're doing. And now they're recruiting where they work and getting us sponsors, and people now want to be a part of that mission. So as it gets bigger, our ability to reach more people is only going to get bigger as well.
And one thing that I really want to kind of like touch on for our audience is this started small, and good things typically start small. We were talking offline, I think Tony Robbins' famous quote is most people underestimate or overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10. And this is just a testament, to the consistent, action over time. And you really, Matt kind of teed this up, but really, the event today was absolutely incredible. We had thousands of people at this park doing the workout. The Guinness World Records came, for official attempt. So I actually want to kind of talk through that right now. You've talked a little bit of the foundation of Big Gave, really like a big inspirational moment for you and really how this has catapulted the last 10 years. But what was the vision, to basically loop in the Guinness Book of World Records? Like how did that all came to be? Because I'm still a little flabbergasted myself.
Yeah, pre-COVID, we thought it was going to be a really cool, awesome idea. And we're like, hey, we can easily, at first it was going to be the most amount of people doing a workout, but they just attempted it and we had no idea what the number was. So we decided jumping jacks, but we said, how do we create an epic event, get as many people here as humanly possible, draw awareness, which then hopefully we draw on the donations. So we try to use the Guinness World Record as something that people would really want to be a part of, to get people here, draw awareness to what we're doing, and then raise money so that we can help 1,000 kids. So really it's getting creative, it's getting resourceful, which is at the heart of entrepreneurship, is how do you get resourceful, how do you get creative? The mission is helping 1,000 kids. How we get there, the Guinness World Record is just a vehicle to be able to do that.
And now I want to talk a little bit about like your team, because for the you viewers out there, Matt is a longtime friend, been in this game for a while. He's one of the best leaders that I know, and he'll be the first one to tell you though, even though he's an incredible leader, he has a whole team to basically support that. So kind of walk me through that. Like what was your role in basically executing this, and then what was your direct to the team? And really, I'm curious, what was the team's buying? Because I would imagine, being the leader that you are, you're not a micromanager. You set the big vision and you really allow your team to basically execute. So what did that look like?
What started with this year, our goal was 250,000. We need 1,000 kids. So we started a Big Give committee, which we have 3 team members that lead the Big Give committee, that they're passionate about what we do. They wake up every day going, how do we grow this? How do we help as many kids as possible? So we recruited our clients to be a part of it, which so many of our clients have amazing skill sets, amazing talents that we wanted to be able to leverage to make this mission come to life. So really, I casted the vision at that first meeting, what we wanted to do, created the idea of, hey, what happened if we were to create the Guinness World Record, get people here? Because if you follow nonprofit charities, a lot of them create events and they get people there and they create an environment that gets people compelled to want to be a part of it. So the vision was there, and then really tasked it to our 3 team members that then they owned everything. My job then is to support them and give them the resources that they need. And honestly, pretty much wherever you need me, like, put me in. So whether it was getting on the news, getting on the radio, making connections that they needed, and just kind of getting out of their way and letting them run with it. And they led the team, but our team, the biggest thing too, it's creating something for your team that's bigger than boot camp, bigger than your business. And everybody on planet Earth wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So really creating an event that's bigger than themselves. And then when you look at the human needs, there's a human need for variety. So if you're just always doing business as business, like, it can start to feel like Groundhog's Day. So being able to create an event for your clients, creating an event for your team that everybody's looking forward to, and then giving them a reason to be super proud of being a part of what we do. Because if it's just, hey, you're gonna come and train every day and that's all we're going to do, like that can get old and that can get redundant. So really, it fills our team's cup up. It's a lot of extra work, but it gives them an event to look forward to get excited about, and be a part of something that's bigger than any of us.
Something you hit about, like that bigger, than any individual person. What would you say? I mean, obviously your heart is gold. So for those of you who don't know Matt, I mean, he's a hard-charging entrepreneur. I've been in the trenches with him for 10 years, and he can be a little crusty and direct at times, but the guy has a big heart, a heart of gold. So obviously you lead with that, right? But I'm curious, from a business perspective, what would you say is like the biggest cultural impact, like in a very positive way, that this has had and will have, on your locations?
Anyone can give a great workout, right? And right now, like, fitness in some aspects has become a commodity. So how do you separate yourself from just being a gym? Like, if you're just a gym, you can be kind of successful, but you need to be more than a gym to really create raving fans and people being proud of being a part of your facility. Like, our clients are proud of being a part of Fit Body. It's not because we have the best 30-minute workouts under the sun. It's not just because we have great coaches. It's because of the impact that we have inside of the community. They know that when they support us, they're also supporting their community as well. So it's, from a team perspective, from a client's perspective, being more than just a gym is massively important. I really think that's a big part of our success. And I think one of the reasons why I've had the success that I've had is because that is at the very foundation. I've always said results, relationships, and community. Those are our three pillars at our locations. And it's the community aspect and the relationships that get people to stay. And part of that is, how do they feel about us? If you're giving back to your community and you're the only gym that's giving back to your community, how do you think they're going to feel about you? And do you think they're going to bring their friends and their family and everybody in because they really love the place that they're doing business with? We're local businesses. People want to give their money to people they like, know, and trust. And by creating some type of charitable giving that's tied to your business, just increases the like, know, and trust factor with your team and with your clients.
And I think, from my lens, Matt, sometimes gym owners can be a little short-sighted in that because it's a cost. I'm curious actually to uncover what that looks like in terms of the investment you made, initially to get off the ground, but really playing the long game. If you invest in your team, if you invest in your community, that's going to pay dividends in the long term. And we've always said this, we're in a people business, and at Domination Workshop, was your workshop a few weeks ago, you kind of came to this realization that, yeah, we are in the people business, but we're actually in the motion business because people are just emotional beings. So to be able to create that emotional connection, I just think it's just absolutely mission critical.
A lot of people say, hey, when I'm successful, I'll give. And really, it's being able to give before you're successful, and I think that will lead to more success. So it's not waiting until you make a lot of money. Making that a foundation of who you are and how you do business, I think, is incredibly important. So that first year, we were able to raise a lot of the funds because I had no money. I'm $100,000 in student loan debt, living in my grandma's basement, 2 months into business, barely profitable, right? And now we're gonna sponsor a bunch of kids for Christmas, but I don't think we would have the success today if we didn't make that investment. Oftentimes it's an investment in time, it's an investment in your influence, and an investment in your resources. A lot of the money we raise comes directly from other people. So our investment is our human resources of our team. Obviously we put in some money as well, but really it's raising that money from our clients, from our community. So you don't have to have any money today to have a massive impact on your community. So every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. This was a massive investment to do this event. It was around $40,000 to do the event. But in hindsight, a lot of it, the sponsors are covering it. So being able to get massive sponsors to cover that so that every dollar raised and donated actually goes straight to the children. So again, it's not, so many people wait until they think they have the resources, but it's about being resourceful. So just the way we've been successful over our charity is the same reason why we've been successful inside of our business. And there's a correlation. We coach the top Fit Body Bootcamp owners. The best owners are resourceful. They get creative. They see the big goal and then they ask, how can we do this? How do we make this happen? And then solutions happen.
What's up, my friend? Bryce here. Now, you might know me as the co-host of this podcast and the CEO of FitBody. But what many people don't know is that I actually began my journey as a FitBody franchise owner. Now, being an owner, I wake up every day absolutely doing what I love. I live my passion. I help people transform their lives and have both financial and personal freedom. And it's for these reasons and many more that other owners join the brand and open their own FitBody locations too. So if you're looking to build a highly profitable business, take charge of your life, and create an impact in your very own community, then opening a FitBody gym might be a perfect fit for you. Now, to see if a territory is available in your area, as we have very limited spots due to our incredible growth, go ahead and visit our website at FBBCfranchise.com to complete an application. Well, thanks, and back to the show. I want to be able to give some tangible takeaways to our audience who are gym owners or wannabe gym owners or soon-to-be FitBody Bootcamp owners, so they can actually take part in something like this. But I want to go back to one of the things you talked about when you're getting the word out, which really storytelling or story selling is so important. And you having such an incredible story around this, I'm sure has exponentially helped that cause. But I'm curious, actually, from a strategic perspective, that we can provide some takeaways. You got on the news. You're doing a lot of media outreach. Like, what did that look like? Who did that? And I'm curious just to be able to give our audience some framework on how to execute something like that.
First, there's got to be a compelling reason that what's your story, right? Like, if you have a compelling story, people are going to want your story on the news. But it's really asking for help. Oftentimes, the answers are inside of our boot camps. So telling your clients, hey, this is what we're looking to do. We need your help. We need to get on the news. We want to get on the radio. Who do you have for contacts? Getting your clients involved, getting your network involved. People can't help you if they don't know how to help you, right? So being willing to help people. The majority of people on this planet, personality type wise, 80% love helping other people. But unless you ask them for help, how do they know how to help you, right? So one of the things that I've had to get over early on in my career is being willing to ask for help. But when you ask for help, you'd be amazed at the tons of people that want to help you and support you, but it's got to be for a good cause, right? So really proving over the years, we have a track record of doing exactly what we say we're going to do, and our clients are part of it. They see what we're doing. They see the gifts. They come and help wrap the gifts. They help buy the gifts. They're a part of the mission. So a big part of it too is just get people a part of it. Make them feel like it's their charity, it's their mission, because it is. And once you get people feeling a part of that, you'd be amazed at what they're willing to do to help you and support you to make that vision come to life. But if you don't have a vision and you're not clear on where we're going and you don't ask for help, then it doesn't happen. So just be willing to have a clear, compelling vision of what you're trying to do and then ask for help, and you'd be amazed at everybody willing to do that. It still amazes me, like the amount of support we got for this event. Like, we had 1,500 people here to come in and do this today. And it just, when we opened, we had 60 clients. And now we got 1,500 people in a bar park trying to set a Guinness World Record and helping us make our mission come to life.
Yeah, man. The energy was just absolutely through the roof, and couldn't be more proud, brother. I want to kind of finish off the episode giving some tangible takeaways to the gym owner, the soon-to-be gym owner, the soon-to-be FitBody Bootcamp owner that can do something like this when they get their location off the ground. Before I do want to play devil's advocate a little bit, or at least tell the reality, right? Because to execute like something like this, I mean, as we talked about, it's a decade in the making, right? So you're not going to be an overnight success. Yeah. But even so, like, this is still extremely challenging put together. Yeah. So from your lens, and also even the team's lens, what would you say was the biggest challenge of this event?
The biggest challenge of this event is just the unknowns. So big part of like the Guinness World Record, most people don't know. You do have to pay a lot of money to get them here. And then they have the rules and the stipulations and all the things that you need to do to meet their criteria. For example, for every 10 people doing jumping jacks, we needed one steward counting. Yeah. We didn't know that when we decided to go for it. So we cut the check, we had the meeting, and then it's like, oh, by the way. And they just kept, oh, by the way, oh, by the way. And then the weather did not turn out good today. It was 40 degrees, cloudy, the sun wasn't out, so people were cold. It's not ideal circumstances to try to do what we did today, right? So there was a lot of things that were out of our control putting on this event. So there was a lot of kind of last minute stress, and really the big thing that I tell my team is when people give us money, we have to be good stewards of their money. So no way can we lose money, no way can we not make this happen, and we can't waste money. right? So the pressure too was, hey, people are giving us money and now we have to be good stewards of that and we have to protect that money and do exactly what we said. So for a while, the registrations weren't coming in that we were hoping for, and the team started stressing out. So one of the things that I told them, and this is just practical leadership, I said, we won't lose money, because if we do, I will make up for it. And that actually took the pressure off the entire team, especially the 3 people in charge, where they were kind of starting to feel the pressure because it just wasn't happening, right? And the other thing that I teach is you have to will it to happen. So a week ago, we had about 300 people registered, and the team is,
Stressed
kind of
out.
freaking out,
Yeah.
stressing out. And then, I started doing some activities that got people to register, and then we got the whole team behind it. Part of it is, if the team doesn't get behind it, which goes back to one of your questions, this doesn't happen. You have to get your entire team on board, because they need to recruit the clients. They need to get the word out. They need to post the videos. They need to be sharing. They need to be having one-on-one conversations with clients and saying, hey, are you coming? So there's a lot of pressure to put on an event like this, but you don't need to start here, which we talked about. We started with $3,400. Do something. Find something that you're called to do that's compelling to you, that you want to put your name and your brand behind. For me, it was creating the Big Give, and it was helping kids for Christmas, because kids aren't in control of the circumstances that they live in, right? And being able to, at least for one day, give them some happiness. We're in control of that, and we can do that for them. So that called me, which then gets me compelled. That gets my team excited, which then gets the clients excited, right? So find something that you want to put your name, your brand behind, and then go all in on that. Because if you want to have a thriving fitness business, you need to create an amazing community. And part of that community isn't just in your 4 walls, it's helping the community outside your 4 walls. And just being honest, like, if you're a business owner, I think you have a duty and obligation to help support the community that you're in. And then the cool part is you get way more support on the back end than you could ever imagine.
I want to reaffirm some of that thing before we shoot. And my last question, Matt, is really going to be about where we go from here, but really to kind of reaffirm a few things you said about when you start and you create passion around this, you create a movement. I mean, I'm here, flying in from LA. I'm here again on Friday night, here on Saturday, out tomorrow. I was hanging out with your team and with your clients, and they're so excited, obviously, for all the support, and from, they're inquiring, like, you came out of LA for this. And, why? And I was like, well, first and foremost, it's the relationship business. And, for you out there, the gym business is the relationship business. It's about connecting with your team, about your clients. And that's the same here. Matt and I are long-term dear friends, for the better part of a decade. And when I see a guy like this with so much heart and so much passion that's doing something amazing, I just can't help but support that, right? So I think that's, an incredibly valuable takeaway that you shared about, like, the movement here, and also too for me, and, wanting to support you and what you're doing here. And I also think, taking a step back, looking at it from a franchisor system, I was at a franchising conference called Springboard last year in the East Coast, and I heard from a speaker who was actually a direct report from Tom Monahan, who's the founder of Domino's Pizza. And Tom had said his job as the franchisor is to create the system, but his job as the franchise partners to make that system better. And Matt, man, I say this humbly, you've made us better, you've made me better, and it just only makes a lot of sense that I continue to pour everything that I can to support you. And I think that's just a huge takeaway for you, being a gym owner, launching your team, doing all the things you need to do, because when you have a good mission, when you start putting communication, energy around it, good things will happen, just like we experienced today.
For sure.
So to finish out, and to recap, incredible event, 1,500 people out here. We unfortunately missed the Guinness Book of World Records. However, to be continued, if you will. So I'm curious, what's your vision here as we, finish off 2022 into 2023?
Well, I think anything that you do, there's a lot of learning lessons, right? What not to do, even leading up to it. The scheduling, it's a Saturday at 11 o'clock. We're competing with everything right now. So next year, we already know different time. The weather wasn't great, so we need to move it forward. So every time you attempt something, you learn, right? You get better, you improve. But part of it too is just be willing to put yourself out there, put yourself on the line, learn from it, adjust and improve. So next year we'll probably double the goal, and then the following year I'll probably double again. So far we've raised, after this year we'll have raised over $1 million, helped thousands of kids have Christmas. So our long-term goal is that every single kid in West Michigan has Christmas, which means we need to expand our mission. We need to become more successful. We need to get the word out even more. But part of it too is being an example for other fit body owners and just even business people in general and inspiring them. What if everybody did a little something in their community? What if everybody had their own big give event where they sponsor kids for Christmas? Now, instead of 1,000 kids in West Michigan have Christmas and eventually it'll be 10,000 kids in West Michigan, what if now we have millions of people sponsored just because somebody was willing to step up and meet the call? And when I met the call, it was $3,400 that first year. And to me, that was massive. That actually felt harder than putting on this event and doing what we're doing this year. So meet the call, wherever that is inside of your community. Meet the call, and you have no idea what it's going to turn into and the blessings that you're going to get in return.
Well, as we wrap, I have one final question, which really, what's your biggest takeaway of the event? So I'm going to tee that up. For me, it's just start small, start now, and really you have no idea what that can, snowball in terms of momentum. And to your point, $3,400 felt like millions of dollars at that period of time. Fast forward nearly 10 years, and granted, you can't see this on the podcast, but we have 1,500 people behind us. The energy was through the roof. We had the official Guinness World Record judicial judge, if you will, and it's just mind-blowing to see how far you've come in such a short period of time in the grand scheme of things. So that's my biggest takeaway for the audience, and I'm curious on yours.
My biggest takeaway is just be willing to fail. Initially it was like when we started kind of figuring out we weren't going to reach the record, it was a little bit disappointing, but then it's going back to putting things into perspective of why we're here, right? There's going to be people like, oh, they tried to set the record and they didn't set the record. And so many people don't move forward because they're so worried about people's opinions that don't actually matter, right? You're the man in the arena. You're putting your butt on the line, your reputation on the line, but doing it for the right reasons. The goal wasn't for the notoriety. The goal wasn't because we have cameras here and the news here. The goal was 1,000 kids. So keeping into perspective of why we're doing what we're doing, and really my biggest takeaway is we're on mission, man. Like, we've had a lot of success inside of our Fit Body boot camps, but that success is now leading to really, really making a massive difference in people's lives. And I hope it inspires other people. Even being on this podcast, the goal is, can we inspire other people to really pick up the baton and start running and helping as many people as possible.
And speaking of which, like my mindset, when I saw you up there, and just the man in the arena came through, and that's an incredible poem by Theodore Roosevelt. So as we finish off, I'll ask my media team actually to cut to that so that we can leave this episode with a little bit of inspiration. But Matt, my brother, man, so proud and grateful for you, and this has been absolutely incredible. And friends, I know this seems like a huge event, which it certainly was, but there's some tangible takeaways that you can take in your business, and I'm super grateful for that. So appreciate you being on the show, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, friends, I know you got a ton of value, assuming you did. Give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, write us an amazing review, and actually write your biggest comment in the YouTube or on YouTube in the comment section. I should say takeaway in the comment section. That way we can continue the dialogue. That's all for today, Mr. Wilber. Thanks again, my brother, and we will see you in the next episode.